it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me today, and welcome to my first Stampers Showcase blog hop video. So today we are hopping with the theme of masculine cards. So I've pulled the On to Adventure card stamp set from the new annual catalogue. It's on page 28. It's a little bit hidden, and there's only one sample in the catalogue, so I thought it probably needed a little bit of a boost. I think it's lovely, and I have chosen the golfing theme because it's a masculine card, and let me show you how I made it. So I have to say I was thrilled to be invited to join the blog hop. It is my first one, so I'm rather excited. So I've mounted my golfing gentleman on a C block. I'm inking up with Memento Tuxedo Black and just stamp this. I'll tell you about the Whisper White in a moment when I've put away the ink, knowing my ability to put my hand in ink. So I've already die cut, as you will see, from the rectangle stitched framelit dies, a piece of Whisper White, and I've used the third smallest, or third from small, die, just because it was about the right size for the width of our retired golfer. Now, I do have all the dimensions on my blog. There's a link to that below, and you'll find that I've got International A4 dimensions both in imperial and metric, and also dimensions if you were doing this with the North American letter 8.5 by 11 size. The American will end up shorter and fatter, but it will give you the right sort of dimensions. So I'm going to do all of my stamping before I do my colouring, so I just need to fold my card base. This is half a sheet of A4 just scored and folded in half the long thin way, and that's purely because when I come to photograph, that's a better angle. And we're just going to stamp the chap just on the inside of the card as well, but I do like to make sure that I know which is my front and back before I do that, because sometimes when you score it's slightly different one way than the other, so I do like to make sure that I've got the longer side at the front and the slightly shorter side at the back. And all I'm going to do is just come in so that we've got his eye on the card, but not the whole impression. So that's all I need my Memento Black and my chap for. So I'll pop that to one side for a moment whilst I colour in my image. I've got a selection of blends, and it was actually, I did the blends before I decided what colour I was going to mount everything up on. So I've got light Granny Apple Green, and that's going to be just added around as grass. This is, because there's shading built into the stamp set anyway, I'm not worrying too much about adding any additional shading. I've got the light basic black, which I have a bit of a problem actually even thinking that there is something called light black, but dark black is even darker than this. So black shoes, black hole, if you see what I mean, not a black hole, but a black hole. I've got the light Calypso Coral just to add a bit of colour in his cheeks, and I thought he possibly had a slightly red nose, either from spending too much time at the 19th hole or just from being out in the sun. And then I've got the ivory to colour in everything that is skin tone. I'm going over that Flirty Flamingo just to sort of dampen it down a little bit, but I just thought it was quite fun to have him with slightly florid face. I seem to have lost my words today. It's been very hot here this week, and I think my brain's just not quite recovered. Happily, the weather is a little bit better today, as in cooler, And we've got some rain. I don't normally like rain, but today I do. Right, Poppy Parade for the flag on the top of the pole. And this is dark Poppy Parade. And then I thought I would replicate the Poppy Parade in his top. I always think that golfers wear quite bright clothes, so I'm going for light Poppy Parade on his top. And I'm literally just going to colour that in. And I do quite like a circular-ish stroke. It seems to blend things in quite nicely once you've got all the colour down. And then I'm going for dark Bermuda Bay for his hat and his trousers. And as I say, I coloured this in actually before I knew what the theme for the blog hop was, and it just happened that it was fitting with this particular image. So that was just a lucky break for me. So Bermuda Bay top and hat and trousers, and then we just need to add a little bit of shading to his hair, I thought. I know there's shading there anyway, but I thought I'd just add a little bit more. And then that was dark smoky slate and light smoky slate. All of the items that I'm using will be listed both below and also on my blog. So actually, is it smoky slate? No, I lie, it's grey granite. It's the slightly warmer shade. So that is our distinguished chap. So having established that I was using Bermuda Bay, I then thought, and Poppy Parade as my two main colours, I was then thinking about what to use as my background. So I'm actually using the art suite, which is, I can never remember the names, I should know them by now. It is Follow Your Art. So this is part of the Follow Your Art. It's one of the B sides of the Follow Your Art paper. And it's in Coastal Cabana, which is a very similar colour to Bermuda Bay. They blend very nicely. So I've cut a smaller mat out of this, and I'm just going to use some snail to stick this onto a mat of Poppy Parade. And it's just got a very tiny edge to it. And then I've got a scrap of Poppy Parade, which I'm going to heat emboss for the ready for that hole-in-one. So I've got that mounted up. First thing to do always when you're doing heat embossing is to use your embossing buddy, just so you don't get embossing powder where you don't want it. And I actually keep it with my Versamark. Does mean the back of my Versamark always seems to be covered in embossing buddy, but that's fine. So ink that up, and I'm going to come towards this end and stamp down, hold for a bit, come straight up, and then I've got my white embossing powder, which I'm just going to dabble my piece of card in to get a nice covering, and then grab, for those of you who have watched me before, it's trusty cheese board time. So this is a small, but it's a bamboo cheese board, and it's very good for embossing because it absorbs the heat really well. It's not a conductor of heat, so I'll just heat up my heat tool. It doesn't conduct the heat well, so it reflects it straight back up. So, and I'm not a wafter, I don't do this. I'm a hold it in one place, let it melt, move it on heat embosser. So that is that done. Now, do remember that you need to wait until that's dry because it has melted and it will be slightly damp to begin with, so I always waft it a little. Then I'm going to grab my tailored tag punch and just pop that in, and I just want to flag the end of that. You can use the tag topper punch or just cut it. So I'm going to be cutting this down, so when I say or just cut it, what I mean is you can cut the middle and then cut to that point, which is also a good way of getting a flag. But I just like knowing that it's going to work, so I tend to use the tag punch. So I've just trimmed that down. Then I need this to be really up close to this, so the words to be really close to the edge of the mat, because I want just a little edge there, but I want space there. So I'm going to lay that down so that it's on my grid paper and straight, and then grab some liquid adhesive, add that just to the end. You don't need much, that's probably more than enough. And then I'm going to come down, I don't know, about 1/2 inch or thereabouts, and then just line up to another grid line, and hey presto, it's going to be straight. So just hold that in place while it really sets. Turn it over and grab some dimensionals and just add those onto the back of your piece. Probably got far too many. Indeed I have. Let's put one back. And then remove your backers. And you may see that I've got, it's only a pencil line, but I've got a pencil line across the middle of the dimensionals. That way I know which ones I've taken the backer off, because otherwise you can spend hours trying to take the backing off something you've already taken the backing off, or forget to take it off at all. And then I want it sort of up a wee bit and right close to this edge, but with a bit of a gap. And there we go. Bring back in my card base, and I am going to use liquid adhesive again, because I do like this as I find it's a really strong adhesive, and with the heat that we've had recently and the really quite extreme humidity, I do find it is the best adhesive to use under hot conditions. And I like to turn over and press. Then the final thing to do, I used the frosted epoxy droplets on this version. I'm going to use the clear this time. Grab my take your pick tool. I love these. I just thought they looked a bit like golf balls. I mean, I know they're not white, but they're the right sort of very round shape. So I thought it was fun. And actually, I'm going to use a small one, I think, at the top. And there we are. So, 2 ready for that hole-in-one masculine cards. Thank you very much indeed for watching. As I say, the information and some close-ups are in my blog post, which is linked below. There'll be a link to the associated blog post. You can find the list of equipment and products that I've used both below and on my website. If you're in the UK and would like to shop with me, I would be thrilled. If your order is £20–25 up to, but not including £150, please use the host code and then you'll get to share in the host rewards. There are some fantastic offers still on. I've got details of those over on my website, so do have a look at those. There's an offer for spending money now and getting a money off voucher in August, and also a fantastic joining offer. So if you've got a large order, really the best thing to do is to buy the starter kit, because that way, and I cover, as far as my team is concerned, the UK, France, Austria, the Netherlands and Germany. So yeah, if you're in Europe, I would be delighted to welcome you to the team. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Do go and have a look at the rest of the projects that the hoppers are going to show you. I know, knowing who's involved, I know there are going to be some amazing projects, so well worth a look. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.